Boom, boom, boom. Look at this.
Hello, everyone. Come on in. The water's fine.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, Tyler.
hey guys,
Good to see you.
you too. It's been a long time.
Yes,
It
it
has been a
has.
while.
Hi, Tracy.
How you doing, Tyler?
You know what? I'm doing really well. I've got a cat on my lap, and it's hard to beat that.
Good. We had to
Hi,
lock the office
Tracy.
cat
Hi,
out.
Lindsay.
Hey,
Hi,
Tess.
So good to see you.
Great to see you too.
I can't wait to hear the readings.
It's been too long.
Too long. I wish you were both coming to Ireland with us.
Next
Got to
time.
make that happen in the years going forward.
That would be fun.
We have to make that happen.
That will work.
Hey, Barbara.
Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Bart. Brian. Hi. A lot of friends.
Who are these
Okay.
people?
Oh, hello. We are going to give folks another couple minutes to join. Just so everybody knows, we are recording this so we can put it on the Meadowlark YouTube and website and social media pages. And while folks are getting comfy, I am just going to kind of go through what to expect for the evening and make some introductions. So first off, I'm going to mute you all because sometimes we get some weird background noises, and I know that we're prone to trains here, so you might be as well. So let's see. Okay, super. All right, everybody comfy. You have your snacks, your beverages. If you need to go potty at any point, just get up and go. You don't have to raise your hand like class. Um, For those of you who don't know, I am Lindsay Garcia. I am Meadowlark Press's poetry editor and publicist. And here we have Tracy Million Simmons, our publisher. So we are your Meadowlark team, and we are so happy that you are here to celebrate tonight with us. It's going to be a really, really beautiful and fun time. And it's so good to see so many friends who are here to support us and here to support our winners and finalists and semi-finalists. And it's so good to see so many new faces too. So we are going to have a reading, of course. We will have some of our previous winners read from their books and maybe also some new works. And then we are also going to announce our semi-finalists and our finalists and our winner. And then our winner is going to do a reading for you as well. And then after that reading, we are going to open the room for a Q&A for our poets, for us, for each other. Some of you might know each other. It seems like this world gets smaller and smaller every year. And happy Poetry Month, everyone. Oh my gosh, there are a gazillion events happening right now. So we are honored that you would take the time to spend this day of Poetry Month with us. I am also going to use the chat throughout. So you are welcome to use the chat as well. And in the chat, I am going to put things like the Meadowlark website and our YouTube channel and our social media pages. So you can stay connected with us online after this event. You can find this recording to share with your family and friends. And you can stay tuned for when our books come out, our finalist and winner book come out. Okay, and if any of you have social media pages, particularly our poets, but anybody in the room, if you guys want to connect, stick your links in there and we can follow each other. We want to keep building this community. Um, all right. Tracy, would you like to say anything before we get the party started?
I didn't prepare any formal comments, but this is year 8 for the Birdy Poetry Prize, which is a lot, and I'm amazed. I never would have guessed all the places this little contest would have taken us, all the amazing poets we've met, and we were just saying, the world just seems to be getting not smaller and smaller, but so many poets, and you all know each other, and we know you, and the places it's taken us. My goodness, Tess took us to Philadelphia this year. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh this year. And we had so much fun, and I'm just amazed, and thank you all for being here, and thank you to all of you poets who have just added so much to Meadowlark and to my life.
And mine.
It's a wonderful world.
And to each other's. Oh my gosh, it is a wonderful world. Yeah, this is really special, and we really take great pride in building what we refer to as our Meadowlark family. And I hope you all feel that too. Okay, before we start crying, I am going to introduce our first reader. Our first reader is our 2025 Birdy Poetry Prize winner, Catherine Anderson, who you got to hear at last year's event. And she won with her collection Afloat. Catherine has published 4 previous collections of poetry, including Everyone I Love Immortal, Woman with a Gambling Mania, The Work of Hands, and In the Mother Tongue. She is also the author of a memoir about her dear late brother who had nonverbal autism, My Brother Speaks in Dreams, of family, beauty, and belonging. She lives in Kansas City, where she has worked for over 20 years assisting new immigrants and refugees to become skilled interpreters. Please join me in welcoming Catherine Anderson.
Hi there. Thank you so much, Lindsay and Tracy. Thanks for bringing us all together tonight. This is very exciting. I'm going to read 4 poems. The first one is my newest, and it's not in the book, but I'm really happy to embark on a new series I'm writing. I'm calling it The Angel Apostrophes. And these are poems that kind of address this mythical, mystical, angel that's somehow has come down and rested on my shoulder as I write. So this first one is, now they're gone, what do you praise? The angel asks. I behold the staves of our garage, knots of brown oak, the stink of oil and creosote, a sack of peat, a grill with last summer's coals, the red-handled secateurs in a bushel basket of leaves, a rake with dried vines woven in its prongs, the short shovel, the long shovel, winter afternoons that lit trees for a moment before darkening. I praise the reckoning swirl of our past, the one who ate olives off my plate, who placed my head on his chest, the sparrows chittering their luck, other birds who roost on top of the garage door, the chain I tugged to close the door. I praise all stations of grief, the range of color in the eyes of the one I love, his plaid shirt I wore to get the mail. I praise the trapezium, a bone in the wrist where sits the thumb. I praise the origin of that word from the Greek trapeza, or little table. I praise the eyes, the mouth, the gut as fathoming organs. The tongue child of 2.5 million years ago, cradled in a tree. I praise the artichoke as thistle, the cucumber as melon. I praise the last cricket of summer, scraping its wings. I praise that singular beating pulse. And the next number of poems, 3 more, just 3 more, I'm going to read are from Afloat. And this poem actually recalls the work I've done for over 20 years in Kansas City and many more years in the Boston area, working with new immigrants and refugees. And how that work kind of affected those of us who work closely with different language groups and different ethnicities. This one's called Stolen. In my life, I've taken it all. The meat, the skin, the root, the water, the petroleum that fuels my going, steals the air from someone else. I've taken the feathers, the magnetic bones, the gold, the healing mint, the willow bark. I would have stolen refracted sunlight in the wing of an indigo bunting to sketch a picture, if I could. I cannot think of a word for this, yet there must be one. Without even knowing, I stole a bit of cobalt, the demon element powering the lithium-ion battery of cell phones, mined by children working in the open pits of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Cobalt, in its other form, shines with the blue pigment of its name. In an art store, I found a thin, sharp pencil in this color for the shade it casts in shadow. I thought that was all cobalt was, a color. I bought it to enhance the blue throat of my bird. There is no word, no equivalent, to draw a bird to steal from a child. This next poem is really about spring. How else can I say it? This is I wrote this a few years ago, but it just always comes back to me. Spring. My black jeans off, I'm sitting in one of those white plastic chairs that cradles your hind end like a sugar scoop. My thighs covered by a piece of old brocade, the tailor passed to me as he turned away with my chalk-marked skirt billowing gardenias, the one that cuffs the back of my calves in a breeze, but now lies resplendent on the ironing board under the tailor's hand as he pushes aside a pincushion the size of an orange and lifts one or two irons next to a pair of metal shears. The moment I fear a water bottle will topple because a one-eyed calico cat, whose name I know to be Agnes, happens to walk between the water and the scissors just before the final press of the newly hemmed skirt of petals and stems, the one I anticipate skimming not my calves, but a little shorter, to crest the top of the knees once the alteration is complete. The second day of April in the year of our Lord 2022, when I look past the rose calendar still showing the month of March and the black and white photograph of a Shetland pony in a bowler hat, and wonder how long beauty will last in the world, not knowing the answer, but just thinking of my skirt, how soon I'll put it on and twirl a little for the final measure, then wear it home instead of my jeans. And I'm going to end with actually the title poem of my book, Afloat. And if this one, you can just imagine you're with someone you love dearly and you're lying back, perhaps in bed, and you're talking about your lives and you're exchanging stories. So this is kind of what it's about. And I guess I'll be quoting it a little bit. Maybe I'll do this if I remember to, those words that I'm quoting. All right. Afloat. Easy to imagine the one you love as a child. Flush skin, bright hair, so like water running through your fingers, eyes agleam in their glance toward you. This lover has your full attention, the story about to begin, your hand tracing the forehead, the soft plum of a cheek, the beloved known as only the beloved is known. After the pond, box turtle, those guys. Your lover's eyes settle on a bedroom window frame, a smudge on the ceiling, the eyes of a child at rest within the story, the long exhaled breath of it. The story will continue, but now a breath it must take. Your lover's mind floating on its back in the pond, your lover silent for a moment, arms spread wide like a T, attempting the back float, the technique that could save a life, what every child learns first, reverent in the positioning, face up, ears and hair submerged in small tides of the water, the swimmer taking careful breaths with you, spotter and listener. The one you love rests on the water's skin, eyes shut, then open, the child you see in that face, your lover who will never drown. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing everybody else. It's great to go first, then you can kind of listen. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Catherine. As always, absolutely beautiful. And you're getting a lot of love in the chat. So when you
Oh,
are able
thank you.
to sit back and relax, go read what everybody has to say about how much they love your poetry.
Thank you.
All right. So next up, we have, one second, I'm adjusting our view. Next up, we have our 2024 Birdy Poetry Prize winner, Alicia Rebecca Myers, with her debut poetry collection, Warble. Alicia Rebecca Myers is a poet and essayist who holds an MFA in poetry from NYU, where she was a Goldwater Writing Fellow. Her chapbook of poems, My Suborgium, was selected by Kiki Petrosino as winner of the inaugural Mineral Point Chapbook Series, and she has been the recipient of a Kimmel Harding Nelson Residency for Poetry and a Looking Glass Rock Writers Conference Nonfiction Scholarship. Warble is her first full-length book. Becca, please take it away.
Thank you. And Catherine, that was so beautiful. It was really great to hear you read. I'm going to start maybe with two new poems and then read a couple from Warble. Okay, so I'll start with a poem. It's called Three Rhinos. Before my diagnosis, I was trying to write poems about nature. Erasure of the self felt morally necessary in this era of manosphere and algorithm and ecocide. I wanted to observe life, but not have that exercise be about my life, to describe the view from the blind without being in it, a kind of blind reckoning. Leaves flipping over to reveal their underbellies before a storm. Habitual mule deer leaping on all four hooves to escape a mountain lion. Deep sea echolocating as a way to navigate. To hear with a jaw. To see with photoreceptor cells like the brittle star. Now I'm struggling not to turn my body into a compound eye. I feel that by writing about personal difficulty, I can make sense of it. The shadows in the MRI tube never moved across the white plain, three rhinos standing still to conserve energy. Okay. This one is called Evidence of Living. An animal's upper lip curled back to smell the air with the palate, or an infant tucked in the warm tent of a shirt. Female scientists straddling meteorites to polish them. Look, here is the hospital where your mother lost her cell phone wrapped in a bedsheet dropped down a chute, but she survived. This poem is about getting older and wanting to. The audiologist says death. Yes, you can still distinguish it. In the medieval habit of two sleeps, the body awakened twice. The desire to feel again, to go around the table and acknowledge the incredible ductile nature of existence. The line in your palm, an effect that precedes its cause in time. Breathe now while also imagining the moment you take your final breath. Look to it while being in it. How lucky. Okay. And now I'm going to read from this beautiful, beautiful book. I'm so honored that you guys chose it and that you published it. It is really about, I guess, helping my dad who had leukemia, and I was with him in hospice. And it's really about our relationship and what it means to be with someone that you weren't exactly close to in many ways, spiritually, politically, but then being with them in the moment they pass and how that's transformative. So, and also the relationship I developed afterwards with my mother, which was surprising. So I will read a couple from the book. This one is called In This Together. My mother is a storyteller, irritating clothing tag with gentle care instructions. As a child, nearly sat on a water moccasin, wasn't allowed to see Elvis, unreliable narrator, at the widow's support circle, chided another resident. I didn't know we could talk about pet loss. Her outgoing message, a series of fumblings. Sometimes I ignore her calls to speak with you instead. You never relive your death with me sequentially. She likes to complain, my daughter is a storyteller. Years ago, took me to the traveling Titanic exhibit. A docent handed us each a card with the name of a passenger. We placed our hands on a block of ice meant to simulate tragedy, checked for our survival against the final wall. Surprise, we both made it. I'm going to read the poem in the middle section that is really the most about my dad. It's called Guy, which was his name. Okay. Guy. You had a name that could have meant anyone, yet you were here in particular. Layered Vidalia onions you peeled and ate like apples, faint freckles on your belly, needles of Vidaza inserted between them. After we saw March of the Penguins, you signed your emails, Father Penguin, attached pics of squirrels and ticks and roof refurbishment, guns hidden in the ceiling, password to your tablet, my birthday, Why did you over photo document chair56.jpg? Some nights I fix a drink and unsubscribe you from far right propaganda, struggle with how to reconcile the whole with its parts. In Indian princesses, we were bald eagle and white dove. How do I separate love from what is reprehensible? In 1975, you hunted a bear while camping along the Whitewater River, hunkered down in the undercut of a logging road to avoid a twister. Affable winker. Toward the end, no longer accepted Skyrim missions, just explored and unlocked the map. Maybe the best approximation of what was my confounding life's trajectory. You loved the frenetic Carolina Chickadee, Ralph and Carter Stanley, La Traviata, every opera, Fish, shot coot from a keel, defended my blog against a vitriolic uncle, played guitar, wore a hat, smoked for 5 years before quitting atop some waterfall, snap, just like that. Okay. I think I'll read two more. I'm going to read my villanelle from the third section called Easy. I qualify every search with easy. Easy bean stew. Easy angel food cake. What is easy to fix? What is healthy? Easy training techniques for a needy dog. Easy way to cross grief like a lake. I qualify every search with easy. Easy to understand recent study on the brief fluke prints left in a whale's wake. What is easy to fix? What is healthy? Easy day trips from here. Easy journey to see varying degrees of light break. I qualify every search with easy. Easy slumber. Easy to tell funny jokes. Easiest way to conceal an ache. What is easy to fix? What is healthy? Easy upward trajectory. Dressy, pretend ease, followed by the sharp intake. I qualify every search with easy. What is easy to fix? What is healthy? Okay, and for my final one, I think I'll actually read the one about my son's birth. It's called You Ask Me to Tell You the Story. Your birth was like hearing a distant piano player and catching my breath while under cathedral glass. In retrospect, the full moon was crescent. My labor nurse wore a silver bean necklace identical to mine. I held you like a squirming catamaran, like a solid radio I got right down to field work. You took forever to appear. In an inch of time, you materialized. I cried from the sheer natural terror of it. Fully loaded sub tasted good after, mixed with aromatic blood. I loved you instantaneously. I turned away from your eyes, preferring the memory of skin on abdomen, first latch easier than imagining the years ahead. Hard to conceive of the night 9 summers later, you would climb into my lap, confused by the silent film on the inflatable screen. Outside, you can never get enough of words. You whispered in my ear, tell me the story. Thank you.
I echo the chat when we all say that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those poems, Becca. The new ones are beautiful. The old ones are beautiful. We love your writing and we love you. Oh, that was great. All right, everybody take a breath. Wiggle a little bit. Ah, I love poetry. Our next reader, Mr. Jonathan Greenhouse. He won in 2022 with his collection, Cupping Our Palms. Jonathan Greenhouse has also won the Ledbury Poetry Competition, Aesthetica Magazine's Creative Writing Award in Poetry, the Telluride Institute's Fisher Poetry Prize, and the Prism Review Poetry Prize. Jonathan lives in Jersey City with his wife and their 2 sons, all within a stone's throw of the local freight line. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan Greenhouse.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me well?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, good. I wanted to thank, first of all, Becca for the wonderful reading, and also Catherine, who I was not able to hear last year, as I was not able to make last year's reading. I have a tenuous connection on my iPad here, so if I fall out of the way and disconnect, I will reconnect right away. I am setting my timer for 10 minutes, as I don't know how long this will take. I have a few poems that I've selected. They are all old poems. They are from Cupping Our Palms, which I love, and I'm going to read them off of my computer. And here we go. My first poem is Like a Lush. Chairs gaze at each other, glazed in fluorescence. A buzzing like a convention of bees clings to the lights, ricochets off mini blinds, lands in a rush upon the professor's hands as he flips through sonnets. This one, these, not that. The class are cabs struggling to keep up, are wading through creeks as a flash flood rumbles into view. Each syllable finds a zealous adherent, a starved hawk who scans a bounty hiding in the underbrush. The lovelorn cricket composing like a lush. A caretaker cuts the lights by accident, and we're statues awaiting the sculptor to bestow us form, a name, whatever we're after. The next poem is Aquariums, Westman Islands and Elsewhere. Westman Islands are in Iceland. Here we go. My son's locked in an amorous stare with a beluga whale, drool slipping like sugar water from his parted lips as the Icelandic guide describes the far-off provenance of our cetaceous guest. The light fixtures, fluorescent glare, flickering like a horror flick's warning to flee. But these fins and fluke have nowhere new to swim to, no mid-Atlantic feeding spree, no breeding colony with which to indiscreetly cavort. My son edges closer, soft nose pressed against the sheet plastic, as he unwittingly lures his aquatic counterpart with his toddling cuteness, his wide-eyed wonder reeling in this good-natured prisoner. Somewhere else, shielded far from our eyes, a small boy teeters on an artificial strip of land, his salted skin sunburnt, no family in tow. He lacks the words to communicate his panic, his abrupt detachment from kin. Rising up on all sides, acrylic walls are skillfully engineered to ward out salt water. Scraps of rotting food lay untouched at his soil-stained feet, raw chunks of red meat, heaps of processed grains. He's greeted every 20 minutes by a new pod of gregarious beluga whales, grinning, chattering in awe. And I just noticed I totally didn't stop the timer. I'm starting now at 7 minutes, so I think that was around three minutes. The next poem is Fractaling the Blue. Mushrooms map a Jackson Pollock portrait across a clavicle polished as if missing from a museum. We sit with shovels at age 14, brows swim-soaked with sweat as if we'd been plucked from the public pool, mercilessly bum-rushed by prepubescent drool. It's summer in a mid-sized town in Jersey, and the lush world's encapsulated within our subdivision site. Loosened soil stuck to skin like sand grains at the tides line, or oil slicks adhered to seagulls at the site of Exxon's spill in Prince William Sound, its coastal stone blackening like basalt, mimicking tarred lungs left breathless. I'm at the dizzying precipice of adolescence, this pit the perfect size of me to vault within. Clambering down its uneven sides, my slim fingers clutch at severed roots and a squirming of earthworms as I crouch within the shadow of what we've dug, my friend above, silhouetted like an angel, branches crisscrossed like spider webs fractaling the blue. Skeletons' scattered bones, one by one, are tossed into the light, like stunned visitors emerging from a languorous sleep, destined to break, as my foot gets caught on a splinter of calcium carbonate. The earth stabbing its siren's pleas into my untrained ears, as if here's where time, at last, will freeze its spinning hands. Okay, the next one is My Sons and I. My sons and I eat toasted butterflies, scrambled scarabs, poached cockroaches, and sauteed caterpillars dotted with ladybugs, fatten ourselves on roasted locusts, munch on a melange of chiggers and ticks baked in a crust of mites of stir-fried silverfish. We try 100% beef, but the cow's majestic, possesses a soul akin to ours, stares queen-like over her expanse of prairies, and lends herself to verses of epic melancholy. We wax bucolic, figure we can fixate on ants covered in chocolate, on arachnids stuffed in puff pastries, dig up pill bugs and night crawlers, swallow them raw like oysters, like steamed mussels, hustle after bumblebees and wasps, stake out the resting spots of moths, of grasshoppers and fleas. My wife's a culinary artiste, devises a million ways to cook them, advises we travel more frequently to marshlands, arrive right at the dead of night. But our sons rebel, sneak out to drive-thrus, consume their body weight in lamb, slather themselves in spam, in lard, and bacon grease. We increase our sanctions for disobedience, lock their doors, impose a diet of snails, offer up milipiede parmigiana and kielbasa ground from earthworms. They squirm through their upstairs windows, zoom out to a Sizzlers, wind up bloated in a KFC, discover a slow pig stranded by the highway, tear it to shreds, its bones scattered across asphalt. Then they crawl back home, bloodied hands in prayer, as they swear only insects will cross their sacred lips. Okay, and this is the last one. It is, the title goes right into the poem, so I'll just read the title and the poem. Lost in a room where you've never been. You may be suffering from memory loss or abandonment, or stuck in a dream from which you can't awake. You may be an older or younger version of your better self, or disguised as someone else, unable to spot the difference. The walls begin to close in, or maybe it's an optical illusion. Maybe you're imagining this, thinking you're reading a poem about how you're lost in a room. Upon the wall, a clock's hands move backwards till you're shedding the weight of your years. You search behind the clock for an escape route, since you believe the room's a metaphor for the life you're leading, or it's a meeting place for the inchoate, where possibility flutters like a moth in moonlight, its wings trembling. Or more likely, this is just a room, and a poem's only what we wish it to be, even as we start to feel the walls pressing up against us. Thank you, everyone.
Incredible, Jonathan. I tell you what, annually or biannually, we don't get to hear these poems enough. I want to hear everybody's poems multiple times a year. So if we could get together every Thursday, that would be great. The chat is blowing up. I love it. Thank you all for being so engaged, being such good listeners, and enjoying yourselves. It's good to see everybody having fun. And thank you, Jonathan. That was a great reading. All right, everyone. Our next reader is our 2021 winner, Allison Hicks, author of Knowing is a Branching Trail. Allison is also the author of 3 other poetry collections, Homing, most recent, You Who Took the Boat Out, and Kiss, a chapbook, Falling Dreams, and a novella, Love, A Story of Images. She was named a finalist for the 2021 Beulah Rose Prize, was nominated for a Pushcart Prize by Green Hills Literary Lantern, and has received 2 fellowships from the Pennsylvania Council of the Arts. She founded Greater Philadelphia Wordshop Studio to support writers in development of their individual voices and practice of their craft through community-based workshops and private consultation. She lives in Havertown, Pennsylvania with her husband. All right, Allison, take it away.
Thank you, Lindsay and Tracy, and all of you here. It's really an honor to be part of this and to read with other Birdie winners, and very excited to hear who is the winner for this year, 2026. So I'm going to read a sequence of poems. They're narrative. This is actually a narrative. And so they all go together. They're in this, I started this sequence, and it's really weird because it's speculative. These are early humans, some point in the past, and it's in the aftermath. This community has come over mountains and settled on the shore, and there's a tsunami, and that has split the group. So half the ones who stayed on the shore were killed, and the ones who were up in the mountain are saved. And so this sort of takes off from there. I think that's everything you need to know. It's been very different working with this, I have to say. So this is Mountain and Shore. After the wave, it became custom. We who had buried the bodies came no further than halfway. We who trusted the mountain to provide did not dare put ourselves in the way of the wave. We on the shore purged ourselves of fear of water, took on rhythms of the sea, busied ourselves with boats and fish. We became two, met at the halfway place. Trades were made, shore folk climbing, baskets of fish on their heads, mountain folk carrying down nuts and fruits. We noticed they began to use odd words, sounds we did not recognize. Offended, we asked why they had cast off our common tongue. They laughed. It was we who started speaking strange, they said. It was decided the old words should be preserved. We recorded them so we would not forget. On one side, we marked the new words from shore, and on the other, new from mountain. Business at the halfway point was conducted in the old tongue. This required that some of us understand and be able to speak what was becoming more distant to us. And this is the translators. 4 we were, girl and a boy each from mountain and shore. The elders showed at our fires. We had not known many winters. We stared, clutching our mothers. Ungripping us, they led us out from our families, friends, to the halfway point on the mountain, the place permitted to both mountain and shore. We were given names, Sama, Una, Obion, Clar. The men and women from mountain spoke shore tongue with an accent. They unrolled sheets with marks on them, old tongue, we were told. We shore children giggled, stopped when they admonished we were to speak old tongue, to be its guardians. When the peoples came with business or dispute, we were to translate into old tongue, in which we would confer, making use of wisdom we would attain through its study, giving judgment in tongues folks would understand. The elders bent toward us. Old tongue was all that was left of the wholeness, the time before the wave, before some moved up the mountain, before some came down to bury the dead, could no longer ascend and became shore. We would be allowed to speak mountain tongue and shore tongue at our mother's visits once a moon. We despaired. No more siblings' ribbings, mother's songs, no more low hum of fathers as we fell into sleep, no sound of waves, no smell of pines in sun at mountaintop. And this is Clar, and this is his talking. And he is from shore. He's the boy from shore, and Una is the girl from shore. Clar, you're not swallowing this. Boneless as squid running up the mountain at the rumor of rough seas wouldn't come down to bury their own. Shore is descended from those who couldn't stand to watch folk rock on the beach. We brave waves steer into wind. Think they're on our side, who want to sit up here and run everything? Stupid tongue, hate it. Too close to mountain guano. Those algae blooms can't make me stay. I'm going home. You coming? You care about pleasing them? They don't care about you, not like shore folk. I see you look at Obion. He's mountain guano, remember? For all his tongue, he'll never look that way at you. Don't you miss your father's boat? Birds flying in the wake? I'm done. They can guano well choose someone else. This is Birds of Shore and Pine. Una did not voice that she missed the shorebirds, the funny ones gazing down their long beaks, perched on the edge of boats, flying low, flapping slow over water, whose beak could hold a barrelful of fish. Mountain birds hide in the forest, dart out in swift flights too fast to get more than a glimpse. Sometimes a shadow lifting from the trees, circling on air. She has not asked their names. The marks she was starting to put sound to, their spikes and points like tracks she used to follow on sand. 2 more here. This is question. And I should say Obion is the mountain boy. Obion was the best at old tongue. The elders smiled on him, tried to hide it, keep themselves even toward us. We felt the sting. Even Clar, who'd deny it. It was natural that Obion be the one to ask. We did not sit at the front of our fires the night you came to mountain and to shore. You had to pry us from behind our mother's legs. How did you come to call us guardians of the wholeness? The elders were silent for a long time. We thought they weren't going to answer. You have the mark. Clar sneered. What mark? Do you see any marks on any of us? Clar was bitter, but the answer was false. The mark of guano, Clar said. They are so full it makes me sick. And this is Clara returning. Last one. We feared a problem to be put to us, the first for us to decide. Our stomachs clenched. Up the path from shore, Clara's mother, dragging Clara up the trail. He looked like he'd eaten sour eel. She bent before the elders. Grandfather, grandmother, I ask pardon. She looked at Clara and shook his arm. That my son has failed to esteem the honor. The elders put hands on her shoulders, raised her. There is no need. They spoke in shore tongue with their funny accent. Clar, eel-face, staring at the ground. The elders took his hands. We thought they might be angry, but their fingers, unlike his mother's, closed gentle around his. Clar's mother bowed, turned up the trail, no word or glance back. Now they will punish Clar, we were sure. They did not. We continued with our lessons without harsh words. We couldn't get it out of our heads. Clar's mother bringing him back. As for why we had been chosen, there was no reason anymore to ask. That's it. Thank you.
Heck yeah, Allison, that was fun. What unique characters. Totally unexpected.
The interesting thing about this is I found it has all the problems of poetry plus all the problems of fiction. So I have to make this plot work out somehow.
Yeah. New unique challenge for you. Keep it up. Can't wait to see what happens. I'm invested in these characters now. All right, folks, we are getting closer and closer to our winner announcement, but first, we would love to take this moment to recognize our semi-finalists and our finalists. So we have a little presentation for you. And Tracy is going to take it away from here.
Okay. First I want to say we had so many entries this year. I mean, it's so much poetry and a lot of wonderful poetry. So if you made this list, pat yourself on the back. It was a lot, and we had our readers, and basically if you made this list, that means that you were on a top list for multiple readers. They put it in their favorite pile. So big deal. And I wish we could publish all of you. These are all wonderful poems. Our semifinalists this year: Analog Love Songs by Boyd Bauman of Overland Park, Kansas. Turmeric Dust Stains Assimilates by Shivani Gupta, Chicago, Illinois. The Light Where I'm From by Brenda White, Emporia, Kansas. Broken Open by David Sullivan, Santa Cruz, California. Small Change by Alec Solamita, Somerville, Massachusetts. Home Base by Andrew Schwartz, Albany, California. Tiresias in the Suburbs by Cedric Rudolph, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The AI Suspects It Might Be a Hungry Ghost by David Ebenbach, Washington, D.C. An Arcade in the Forest by Aaron Olds, Tampa, Florida. Proof of Life by Kathy O'Fallon, Carlsbad, California. Scotch Tape and Paper Clips by Sue Fagalde Lick, South Beach, Oregon. Old Words, Old Wood by Catherine Jordan, Berkeley, California. And In the Time of Sonic Booms by B. Fulton Jennis, Ridgefield, Connecticut. Congratulations to all of our semifinalists.
Woo! Good to see some of you here. Congratulations.
And our finalists, we have Modern Man by Kent Leatham of Pacific Grove, California. We have King of Song by Matthew Zhao, Tallahassee, Florida. Mammoth Life and Accident by Avra Wing of Brooklyn, New York. Her Mexico Blurs by Emily Lupita Plum, Lovelia, Iowa. and Net of Stars by Charles Cooper, Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Congratulations, everyone.
And should we do a drum roll here? We are now announcing our winner of the 2026 Birdy Poetry Prize. These Blessings Are All We Have by David Ebenbach.
Woo! You can unmute if you want. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Woo!
Amazing.
I want to say real quick, you may notice that we have a first in that David also had a semi-finalist piece. So two manuscripts in the top. That's amazing. Very good, David. Congratulations.
And it sounds like a lot of you know David, so this is really cool. Another great opportunity for us to bridge all of our poetry communities together. And you'll see that we had people coast to coast submit. So that's really wonderful to see. And we really appreciate your support of Meadowlark and of each other. Our judge this year was Tracy Brimhall, who is currently our Poet Laureate of Kansas. As you can imagine, she is very busy right now, so she was not able to join us tonight, but she did write this wonderful, wonderful review of These Blessings Are All We Have, so I'm going to read that for you. Miracles, wonder, bewilderment, all these and more in These Blessings Are All We Have. I deeply appreciated the calm wisdom of these poems and how their endings often felt both astonishing and inevitable. David Ebenbach can take moments of sorrow and awe and distill them into well-crafted lines. I was reminded that stanza means room because in these stanzas I felt sheltered from the mess that life can sometimes be. These poems are suffused with patience, with dedication, with improbable grace for the daily teaching, washing, wishing, and loving that make up a life. If you come to this book with a hunger for the language of the miraculous, you shall surely be blessed. So that is what Tracy Brimhall had to say about that. And I think she summed that up beautifully. And now you'll get to hear for yourself. So I'm going to formally introduce David to you all, and then he is going to read for us. David Ebenbach is the author of 12 books of poetry, fiction, and nonfiction, winners of such awards as the Juniper Prize, the Drew Hines Literary Prize, and the Birdy Poetry Prize, among others. He has a PhD in psychology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and an MFA in writing from the Vermont College of Fine Arts. David lives with his family in Washington, D.C., where he teaches creative writing and literature at Georgetown University's Center for Jewish Civilization and works with faculty and graduate students to support their teaching at Georgetown's Center for New Designs in Learning and Scholarship. You can find out more at davidebenbach.com. Please join me again in congratulating and welcoming David. Woo! And now I'm going to mute you all.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you so
sorry.
much. I am so honored to be here and just feel like buoyed up by all the tremendously beautiful poetry that we've had so far tonight. And I'll just try to follow that momentum forward. I'm so excited about this whole process. And thanks to all you who are here, including family and friends. I actually want to start with a poem by Jane Kenyon, just because I really love Jane Kenyon. So I'm going to start with a poem called Who. These lines are written by an animal, an angel, a stranger sitting in my chair, by someone who already knows how to live without trouble among books and pots and pans. Who is it who asks me to find language for the sound a sheep's hoof makes when it strikes a stone? And who speaks the words which are my food? Oh. So, oh, and by the way, yeah, here's to you and to Meadowlark. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Tracy. And that's to Jane Kenyon as well. So now the rest of the poems are from the manuscript. These blessings are all we have. And I'll start with one called I Will Believe in It. Sometimes I write poems, by the way, Like I decide I want to do a thing, but then I don't know how to. So I just write a poem saying I'm gonna do it. And it turns out that's a lot easier. So this is an example of that. I'm gonna write a poem about faith, that thing some poets know about. It will advance along declarative statements. Here are the truths. There will be a God in the world, in the molecules and firmament, and this God will have reasons for everything that has and hasn't happened. We won't know the reasons, but then we don't even know what we know. What we will have instead, what I will have, is the feeling of a hand on my shoulder, my head in my own hand, across the length of me. Sometimes there will be fragments. This is the world. Yes, the movements of the elements will make a chorus. This is the world that God made, that God makes. We are here. This is the world that God will never explain. And I will sit down and believe in it. And one of the major themes in this book, it's actually been a number of years, but my mother passed away. So there's a number of poems about that. But I'm feeling in such a celebratory mood that I'm really reading celebratory poems tonight. Uh, but this poem and some others will give you a sense. The poem of your mother. There's only one poem, the poem of your mother. The trees in your poem are just your mother's old arms, bent at the elbows. There are oceans, but those are probably her hands. You remember the way she used to gather water in them from the sputtering faucet and drink, streets run off in your poem. And the people, they're all just her again, one walking version after another. Animals, bricks, too cold memory. All of it caught in her hair, in the things she fed you. Even the words, the letters running with milk. There's a shorter one called Homecoming. After the long dark of River Road, my mother came home to an old house full of animals. Cats, dogs, they circled around her each night or morning, it depended on the shift, and asked her animal questions. Are you back? What do you have? My mother fed them, talked to them, sat in a chair for a little while, and then she got up again and fed herself, something simple, something easy. There was no microwave in the old house, but the oven's good enough for most food. And anyway, what was the rush? Eventually, the old house filled with the sounds of the meal. And there's a fair amount in this book about food because there's always a fair amount in my poetry about food. And shout out to my dad who's here, who taught me to love food. And anyway, this poem is called You Shall Eat and Be Satisfied. And there's a reference to it by Tracy Brimhall in the nice words she gave to me. But this is a reference to Deuteronomy 8:10. There's a little bit of a longer one. And you shall be blessed at your table and in your chair, and blessed in the eyes of the cook who laid the table and the carpenter who built the chair, and in the leaning forward and the leaning back. And you shall also be blessed in the night time when you wake with indigestion. And you shall be blessed again in the hungry morning when you stand over the sink with leftovers in your hand. Blessed you shall be in the doctor's office, in the blood tests, and in the blood pressure cuff. Blessed in the chastising eyes of the doctor. And you shall be blessed in the bathroom mirror, and in the comparisons you shall make to the photographs of magazines in the magazine stand that stands in the world. And blessed on the treadmill and the elliptical, and in your ready sweat and aging unfamiliar body, you shall be blessed. Blessed in the unkind mirror, blessed in your unkind eyes, but you shall be blessed, yes, in the eyes of the cook who laid the table, and the farmer who laid the field, the laborer who laid the conveyor belt, and you shall be blessed by your own curling belt, blessed by the ever harder work of the belt and the blood, struggling to bless us in the morning and in the night, and most of all, you shall be blessed by your tongue, that simplest of blessers, the one who leaps with praise at every syllable of good food. You shall be blessed by that simple praise, and you shall inevitably be blessed by the one who laid your body into your body, which has an end that is always coming, whether you have been blessed or whether you have not. And you will be blessed if you bless the food, if you bless the body, if you eat and are satisfied, and if you eat again and are satisfied again. If you know above all that blessing is both reward and injury, and if you know that these blessings are all that there is to receive, you shall surely be blessed. The title of the book sort of comes from that one, paraphrased. Thank you, everybody in the chat, you nice people. This poem is a shout out to my wife, my fantastic wife, my wonderful Rachel, who is here tonight and who is the greatest thing in the world. And it's called Not a Sonnet, even though it's a love poem. And it's about Yom Kippur, which is a night or a day, night and a day, honestly, when you're not supposed to do like really pleasurable things and you're supposed to suffer and think about what you've done wrong and so on. It's called Not a Sonnet. We always forget not to kiss each other goodnight on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is not for kissing. Not for kissing or anything else that comforts, nice shoes or warm bread or a glass of water at any temperature, unless it's to look at and contemplate the way God is refracted through the world like light through that glass. That would be a good use for Yom Kippur. But among other things, love is a habit. And as we settle into bed, just starting to be hungry and thirsty, we forget for a moment what night it is, and with a quick kiss, assure one another that we are here, the two of us. Thank God. And then each realizes, and we touch our own lips, tinily scandalized, childlike refractions. I love you, Rach. This poem is called The Miracle, and it starts with an epigraph from Donald Hall, the poet. In his lines say, "We ate and talked and went to bed and slept, a miracle." It's a great poem. You should probably stop listening to me and go find it right now, but I'll keep reading just in case you don't. But it's like the burning bush, isn't it? Where the miracle wasn't the flames, wasn't even the refusal to be consumed, but instead was Moses turning aside to look. I mean to say how easily a life becomes just a mouth eating, talking, a body in a bed, dropping consciousness unconscious to the tuneless floorboards. No miracle. No, miracles are when food sparks on the tongue, when conversation makes a line of sparks between and among. When in the bed we are shocked awake by the world's old new fire, the world that is never consumed but often vanishes in our peripheral vision, or when we feel the burning, a miracle. This one's called The Baby in the Synagogue, and the title goes right into the first line. The baby in the synagogue doesn't know where she is, aside from the planet that is her father's shoulder. The sounds come sometimes from one place and sometimes from everywhere. She knows a little about singing already. And meanwhile, the light comes in steady from above, from what will turn out to be windows. The rabbis say that we know absolutely everything until we're born. They say angels hold it for us while we're occupied with living. Somewhere between hungry and asleep is this baby in the synagogue. Her father begins to bob in place. Planets shift. Everyone sings. And then back to my mother. Ours. Nice. My students say that too. This poem is called Flora, which Merriam-Webster defines as a treatise on or list of the planets of an area or period. I need to name my mother's plants. The edifice bushes in the front yard, the slender fingered secretary ferns behind the house. She took us back there at sundown once for flowers that opened as the light faded, opened while we watched them open. I want to call them night lilies. Under our feet, the sewers and the earth, a basement room of potted dwarf vines and mole flowers under blue lights. In the next room, my father's workshop, hammers hanging next to baby food jars of nails. When we moved out, he had both rooms, the workshop's ochre light. On the street, my mother walked past unknown trees. She reached out for bark, for leaves and names, cramming between shifts for a horticulture exam. Here was the honey locust, the pointed spruce, the low-hanging osage and its leaves, which fade from green to yellow. A little thing in there if you're from Philadelphia. So we moved, basically, we were on this street that went into this street called Locust. And so the last three lines talk about the locust and osage, locust, spruce, and osage. And that's actually the 3 blocks away we moved south, but then we also moved further west. So it's my little treat for Philadelphians in the room. Greatest city in the world. This poem's called Panegyric, which is a poem of praise. And it's about my mother also. And some of the hard choices she had to make when she was raising us. Go birds. She can't see much out the window. The lights in the jewelry store are too bright, bright off the expensive things in their glass cases. But she can see her kids in the car, the girl old enough to watch the boy a few minutes. Inside, the man behind the counter smiles, leans forward with his hands on the glass cases. He can tell the mother's not here to buy. From her coat, from her face. In her hand, a small clutch of things. Her wedding ring, now pointless. 2 bracelets, a necklace she loves because her father gave it to her before he drank up their prosperity. Shift weary, she remembers never having to work as a girl. She remembers the cushioned house of a country doctor. But there's little substance in memory. She opens her hand for the man behind the counter. She'll do this, and then she can take the kids to the market. The man leans forward some more. And shout out to that girl in the car who is my sister, who is here. Just 3 more, not very long ones. This one is called 100 Blessings a Day. There's a lot of poems in here, by the way, about how I basically don't believe in God, but then there's other poems in here where I'm like, do I? It's a complicated book. I don't know anything about the world. 100 Blessings a Day. The rabbis wanted the sacred to be ordinary. They wanted us to spend the hours texting God with updates on our many minor appreciations. For waking, for the belt and hat we put on, for food and water, for the pliability of our limbs, for the window and the sky and all they attempt to contain. They wanted it to happen again and again until it becomes almost natural, like breathing or using the bathroom, both of which demand our praises. So that when we lie down and when we rise up, we find ourselves mid-conversation, unshy, the way a long love works. A long love and its countless small attentions. Its happy recurring, where were we? This poem is called Sukkot Questions, and Sukkot is a fall holiday for Jews. And in theory, at least, if you can, you build these temporary sukkahs, these structures that are kind of ramshackle and are supposed to make us think about the impermanence of kind of everything we build as people. This is Sukkot Questions. But this takes place inside my house. Okay. Were those patches on the ceiling always here? And is that why my soft palate itches this fall? Why some mornings I sneeze a dozen times in a row? And did those men working on the roof, I heard pebbly showers within the ceiling when they hammered, open up holes that let the rain in to stain our ceiling? And outside the window, do those clouds mean the rain hasn't left us after all? That the patches are going to grow? That the men are going to come back to the roof and patch old holes and then probably make new ones? And what is a ceiling? And why do we believe in it? And then finally, I'm realizing that very many of these poems are about belief. Okay. This poem is called The Truth Is, and it goes right into the first line. The truth is, I don't believe in any of this world. It's summer because the earth is tipped drunkenly forward as though trying to make out the sun's expression. It's humid because the air is full of water. Water. And the cicadas are choosing mates based on who's the best at making the exact same sound. Meanwhile, every bit of this is molecules, those jungle gyms you dream up in chemistry class. And I think I could live with molecules, even atoms, if the scientists didn't keep saying, oops, there's something smaller. Where are the turtles all the way down that we were promised? Not that I would remotely be able to believe in them. Actually, and this is the worst, everything is mostly nothing. Summer, the damp, chittering heat, the asphalt I'm walking on, and the impossible translucent shade cast by the trees, quarks and leptons specking the empty. And so what fills the world is our foolishness, our failure to see how little there is. Still, we live in that failure this sweaty morning. I continue my walk. Thanks, folks. Cheers.
Woohoo!
Absolutely incredible. You guys can unmute again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay!
Wonderful, wonderful.
So good, David. Thank you for sharing those poems with us. And I cannot wait for everybody to get the chance to read the whole book. We've had the luxury, but stay tuned for when David's book comes out and you can all read every single poem in there. Wow, that was beautiful. I can't believe that we're winding down now. It's my saddest part. However, before we call it quits tonight, I want to open the room to you all to ask some questions or share some words of congratulations, some more comments. Feel free to stick it in the chat. Feel free to just shout out your questions, or if you want to use the raise your hand feature all politely, you're welcome to do that too. So the floor is yours. Oh, one moment before the floor is yours. We have one more announcement to make. I'm going to let Tracy make that announcement.
So we're not usually quite on the ball enough to make this announcement at this time, but every year we do, starting with the first birdie, we would publish our winner, who is the prize winner, who gets $1,000 in cash and publication of their book with Meadowlark Press. We're very, very proud of that. But we have always selected a second poetry book to publish as well. Our finalist we publish. So we actually have our finalists selected, and he is here with us. Kent Leatham, the author of Modern Man, will be our finalist publication this year. So congratulations, Kent, and you have two fantastic Birdy books to look forward to. So watch for both of those.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations, Kent. I'm so glad. Did I say Kent Latham? Did I say your last name? Okay.
Yes, it'll be wonderful to have you join our Meadowlark family too.
Yeah. So,
would you like to say anything, Ken? You don't have to. That's okay.
I just thank you all the poets here for making all of this possible, and thank you Meadowlark for upholding us. It's such an honor.
Well, thank you. We have a lot of finalists in the room here too. Raise your hand if you're one of the Birdy finalists. Congratulations to all of you.
yes.
We love this. Oh, excellent. And hopefully, sometimes we have some of the finalists read at these events too. So stay tuned for next year and we'll get to do this all over again, plus some finalists. Okay, now the room is open to you to ask some questions or say whatever you want to say.
I'll ask a question to David, because you had the two books, and I'm just curious if they were both composed at the same time, or you just had one that was earlier or later. It's not always that you can have two books going out at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, the other book actually came together really quickly out of a burst of anxiety about AI in our world, and sort of about that. And but this other one has been building for a long time, and so they actually came together because one sort of lapped the other at right around the same time. And the craziest thing is that, like, within a week of hearing from Meadowlark about this prize, the other book got picked up by Broadstone. So
Oh,
they're
great.
actually both going to be out in the next year. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I don't know what to say.
That's super cool. Can't wait to read that one too. It's excellent. Everybody should go pick up a copy of that one when it comes out too. Bart put a question in the chat for David. Was Judaic thought always such a light in your work?
I think it's more and more. Um, I think one of the things I've been wrestling with is so much Jewish literature is about the person who's like disconnected and disaffected. And that's a very reasonable place to be. There's nothing wrong with that. But I got a little bored of it myself. Um, and in my own work, I got bored of it. And I started, and actually one thing that really happened that really helped, there's an organization called Yetzirah, which is a place for Jewish poets. They have a conference every summer. I've been there a couple times, and just so many poems happened as a result of being there. And you get together with these other Jewish poets who are like really excited to engage in one way or another, and you start feeling like maybe these two things, poetry and Judaism, are not ridiculous, individually or together. And so, yeah, it's started to more and more become what I'm going after, or one of the things.
Thanks. And Becca says her husband runs that reading series.
What?
Yeah, Dan Rosenberg.
Yeah, he's actually going to be in Asheville this summer. I don't know if that's where the conference is. He's booking
Yep.
his flight. Yeah, he'll be there. Are you going this summer?
No, you can only go 2 years in a row, so I didn't apply this year because with these
Okay.
books coming out, I want to be able to go possibly next summer if I can.
Okay. I was actually going to mention you to him because I know like the series is done this year for readers. Have you read for Yetzirah before?
Yeah,
You
my
have.
last
Okay.
book came out at a good time for that.
Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. Nice.
More connections. Tyler says it was so rejuvenating to hear you all read. Thanks for hosting, Meadowlark. Happy to host. Thank you all for reading. Other questions, comments? Do any of our previous Birdie winners have any words of wisdom for David going forward? I mean, this isn't his first poetry book, but uh, any warnings he should have?
Yes, I would just like to actually ask David if he has any advice for us. But seriously, that is amazing to have two books coming out at the same time. I don't know if it's the first time for you, but that is pretty phenomenal to have two in 1 week.
Oh, I've never had anything like that. Does anybody? I mean, it's a crazy coincidence. I mean, it's not like that. It's like rejection, wall to wall rejection, but this was quite a week.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Well, I'll just say, and I've said it before, that nothing beats Meadowlark. And I'm sure your press, David, the other one is terrific, but Meadowlark, Meadowlark will be the experience of a lifetime. It's just a great, great press. And we're just so happy to have it in Emporia, Kansas. I mean, that's another diamond in the rough right there. So it's a great experience. You're going to love it.
Meadowlark's been cool ever since the very first book.
Yes.
Thank you all. It's fun to watch Tracy's visions come to life, and I'm honored to be on the ride with her. Glad to do your poetry justice. We love to make these books. We love to make, I mean, you made the books, but we love to make them into books. Brian asked, David, what's the plan to promote the books?
Oh, and I just like threw a thing in. Everything. You know, I want to give readings virtually and in person. I feel like it's just like it's such a nice thing to be with. I mean, look at this chat. It's so nice to be with people sharing your work. So I want to do that, but also maybe write some blog posts, do some interviews, stand in a tree and yell poems at passersby. Whatever, anything, you know. Leave poems on boats leaving for other continents. I don't know, whatever it takes. And anybody who's looking for somebody to give a reading, I'm probably interested.
We would love to have all of our poets come to Kansas. Maybe we can work something out.
Telling you, 10-year, we're gonna have a big party. I'm taking notes already.
Well, lots of words of congratulations. We obviously love what we do. You all obviously love poetry. Yeah, let's go write more. Let's go read more. I'm excited to read that poem that you recommended. And if anybody has anything, I'm sure that we think of right as we hop off, feel free to email us. Check out meadowlarkbookstore.com and follow us on socials to make sure that you stay tuned for all past and upcoming news. Yeah. Thank you all. Have a beautiful night. Happy National Poetry Month. Congratulations to everyone. And we'll see you next year.
Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy and Lindsay. As always,
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
congrats,
you,
David.
See you.
everybody. It's great.
Thank you. Congrats.
Toodles. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Bye. I'll miss you.